Hi everyone, it's Johnny from Prime Academy, and for today's example question, what we're going to be looking at is finding the equation of a normal. So just a brief refresher on what a normal is. Let's say I have a function fx, it's a parabola. The normal is the equation of a line that's perpendicular to the tangent. So I'm going to draw a green line here, and this represents our tangent. Now the normal would be this blue line here, and as you can tell, they both cross at the same kind of purple point on the parabola. However, the difference is that while the green line is tangent, meaning it shares the same slope, the blue line, which is the normal, is perpendicular to the tangent. So how are we going to deal with this? Well, the first thing is that when we're finding the equation of a tangent, we need the slope. And if we need the slope, we need the derivative. So if we take a look at this question here on the right, the one that I've just circled, this is asking us to find the equation of the normal at x equals -1 for this parabola here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to recognize that this is a series of 3 monomials. If you guys see that, 1, 2, and 3. And that means I can use the power rule to find the derivative. So whenever I'm finding a derivative, I have to use the little apostrophe if it's f prime x or y prime. And that sort of communicates to the person looking at my work that I've gone from the original function to the derivative, or the process of finding the derivative. So y prime here would be 6x minus 4, and I just used the power rule individually on terms 1 and 2. Term 3 is a constant, and when you take the derivative of a constant, it becomes 0, so it just goes away. And that's a rule that applies 100% of the time. So now I want the normal at x equals -1. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to plug in -1 for x to figure out what the slope of the tangent is. And when I plug in -1, as you can see, I get -10. So the slope of the tangent is -10. Now, if I'm looking for the slope of the normal, that means I'm looking for the slope that's perpendicular to this -10, and you can see that I've just written perp to symbolize perpendicular. So the rule with perpendicular slopes is that they are negative reciprocals of each other. And again, you see I've written shorthand yet again, neg recip, meaning negative reciprocal. So the negative reciprocal of -10 is, well, first I write it as -10/1. So negative means I'm going to change the sign. The negative of a negative is a positive, and reciprocal means I flip the fraction. So if I flip this fraction and make it positive, I get 1/10. So 1/10 is my perpendicular slope. The next step is that I need a point that's on the line, because now that I have the slope, I need to know the y-intercept. Remember, normals and tangents, they're straight lines, so they get represented by y equals mx plus b. So the formula for the y-intercept is y minus mx. So I have my m, but now I need a y and an x. I actually have the x as well, it's -1, but I don't know what the y is. So I'm going to take a moment to sub in -1 back into the original so I can get the corresponding y coordinate. So y equals 3 times -1 squared minus 4 times -1 plus 8. And I'm going to do the arithmetic here. I'm going to get 3 plus 4 plus 8. And 3 plus 4 plus 8, that's 15. So now I have my y-coordinate. So going back to this equation, I can say that b equals 15 minus 1/10, right? And I'm going to do I'll just do some highlighting here. This m is what we found here. This is that perpendicular slope because we're finding the normal. The x, which I've put in a little blue highlighter, that's the x given to us in the question. And then the y is this 15 here, because it's the corresponding y coordinate to the x. So I have my y now plugged in, just going to be, we're right back here on this equation now. I've plugged in my y, I've plugged in my m, and now I'm going to plug in my x, which is as we saw, -1. And if I do some simplifying here, I'm going to get 15 plus 1 over 10. And if I want to simplify that a little bit further, create a common denominator, I can get 151 over 10. And for anyone who's confused how I got that, 15 can be rewritten as 150 over 10, and then 150 over 10 plus 1 over 10 is 151 over 10. So the last step to writing the equation of my normal is to write it in the form y equals mx plus b, and I know that my m is 1 over 10, and I know that my b is 151 over 10. And what we've done is we have written the equation of the normal.